Where did the budget come from? Not as a joke, not as a modern insult, as a quiet question that rises when you stand in the wrong town and see the wrong building. A place with one main street, a few trades, a thin, uncertain economy, and then stone that speaks like a capital city, a dome, a grand stair, columns cut with patience, ironwork shaped by hands that had time to learn. Official history tells us these were aspirational years, that communities dreamed big, that faith or progress or pride made monuments possible, and yet the paradox remains. Wanting a monument is easy, maintaining one is not. So let us begin with three places, not because they prove anything, but because they refuse to sit comfortably inside their own stories. First, Guthrie, Oklahoma. In 1900, the town counted about 10,006 residents, 10,000 souls on the plain. Oklahoma Historical Society. And yet, by 1907, a classical revival courthouse rose there, 4 stories, formal, composed, built like authority made visible. Wikipedia. The question is not whether Guthrie deserved beauty. The question is how a town that young, that small, could carry a building that heavy. Stone is not only purchased, it is quarried, hauled, set, repaired. It demands a chain of craft, a chain that must already exist. Second, Leadville, Colorado. By 1880, Leadville had more than 15,000 people, a silver town, loud and temporary at heart. Wikipedia. And yet, in 1879, in that cold, remote place, the Tabor Opera House opened, 3 stories of brick, iron, and ambition, built to host refinement where the earth itself promised only risk. Wikipedia. An opera house is not a mine. It is a ritual room, a hall made for inherited manners. Why would such a hall appear so quickly, in a town that could vanish as quickly as the price of ore? Third, Eureka Springs, Arkansas. A mountain resort town, remembered for healing springs and hopeful visitors. And then, in 1886, the Crescent Hotel rises, spoken of in one historical marker account as newest and most luxurious, with a cost of $294,000. HMDB.org. That number is not just money, it is transport, limestone moved, labor housed, work sustained through seasons. So again, quietly, where did the budget come from? We do not answer yet. We only notice how these buildings behave, how they speak. They do not feel local. They feel like signatures, like a language placed onto the land, repeatable, disciplined, already known. And once you see that, you begin to wonder whether the town built the monument, or whether the monument built the town's story around itself. If you stay with the question long enough, it stops sounding like suspicion. It starts sounding like accounting, not modern accounting, older accounting, the kind that counts wagons, counts hands, counts winters. Because a grand building is not one purchase. It is a chain. Stone must come from somewhere. Brick must be fired somewhere. Timber must be cut, seasoned, carried. Men must be fed while they work. And the work must continue even when the town's income falters. So we turn to another small place, Waxahachie, Texas. In 1900, the town's population is recorded as 4,215. TexasAlmanac.com. 4,000 people. And yet, in the 1890s, Ellis County raised a courthouse there in a rich Romanesque manner. Massive, ornamental, meant to be seen from far away. One detail courthouse register lists the build cost as $175,000. TexasCourthouses.com. Again, the number is only the surface. What does it mean in lived terms? It means crews on ladders for months. It means scaffolding. It means quarried material hauled in quantity. It means skilled carving, details that do not appear without a tradition of doing them. And here, the paradox deepens. A small community can fund a building once, but the building style implies something more than funding. It implies access to a ready-made language of power, a language with rules, proportions, grammar. A courthouse built like a fortress of law is not just shelter for records. It is a ritual object. It teaches the town what to bow to. Now shift your attention south and east to the older river towns. Natchitoches, Louisiana, an old settlement, a parish seat, built a new courthouse in 1896. Wikipedia. A historical marker account places the cost at $20,555. HMDB.org. That figure is smaller than Waxahachie's, but the logic is the same. A public building announces stability. It announces continuity. It tells the passerby, the law is here and it will outlast you. But why does this announcement repeat so widely? In places whose daily life was fragile, mining towns, frontier junctions, county seats surrounded by farms that lived at the mercy of weather and prices. The official story says, pride, progress, a moment of optimism. Yet optimism does not explain the sameness, because the same architectural tongues speak in distant mouths, the same arches, the same towers, the same deliberate symmetry, as if plans traveled, as if trained hands traveled, as if a larger order wished to stamp the landscape, quietly, permanently, so that even a small town would feel like part of something older than itself. And then, after the boom, after the promises, the buildings remain, stone permanence, wooden economies, and the question returns, calmer now. Not, how did they dream so big, but who needed these dreams to be built in stone? In the pre-modern mind, power is not abstract. It must be seen. It must be touched. It must cast a shadow. A seal on paper is fragile. A speech fades, but a courthouse dome does not argue. A depot hall does not debate. A grand hotel does not explain itself. It simply stands and teaches. So, when we ask, where did the budget come from? We are also asking something older. Who had reason to plant permanence in places that were not permanent? Look back at the pattern we've gathered. Guthrie, about 10,006 people in 1900, receives a courthouse with the posture of a capital. Okistory.org. Waxahachie, 4,215 people in 1900, raises a courthouse recorded at $175,000, dressed in heavy ornament. TexasAlmanac.com, TexasCourthouses.com, Leadville, over 15,000 by 1880, builds an opera house in 1879, a ritual hall in a town built on appetite. Wikipedia.org, Wikipedia.org. Eureka Springs raises a luxury hotel with a recorded cost of $294,000 in 1886, like a palace set among hills. HMDB.org. Different states, different economies, different reasons to exist, yet the same kind of monument appears again and again, like a refrain. This is where we become careful. We do not need to claim hidden hands. We do not need to name a secret committee. We can simply observe what pre-modern societies already understood. Large building projects often belong to systems larger than the village, a county, a church network, a railroad company, a state seeking cohesion, a financial class seeking stability. In older terms, these are not conspiracies. They are orders, and orders build to make themselves real. A courthouse is an altar of law. A station is an altar of movement. A grand hotel is an altar of status. Altars are not built only for locals. They are built for the invisible audience, the wider world, so that the wider world believes this place is governed, connected, and safe. So perhaps the question is not whether the town could afford it. Perhaps the question is whether the town was the main customer at all. Because when authority builds, it often collects payment in ways that do not look like a simple bill. Land grants, bond issues, county taxes spread across farms and hamlets, railroad capital justified by routes, church money gathered from far beyond the town's borders. And sometimes, just as often, authority builds first, and the town grows around the promise. The building becomes the seed. The courthouse tells settlers, this place will endure. The depot tells merchants, goods will move. The opera house tells investors, civilization is arriving. Stone creates belief, and belief creates migration, credit, and compliance. Still, one discomfort remains. If these buildings were meant as signatures of larger systems, why do so many small towns today feel abandoned by those systems? Why does the monument outlast the purpose? A grand dome above empty shops, a vaulted hall turned into storage, a hotel that becomes a rumor. This is the lingering mystery spoken softly. Perhaps the buildings are not only evidence of money, perhaps they are evidence of a different expectation, that these towns would become something more, or that something more once existed and left behind architecture that no longer fits its surroundings. We do not conclude. We simply leave the listener with the oldest kind of historical doubt. When the stone is greater than the town, maybe the town is not the true measure of the past.